So afternoon part one, we're going to be looking at cultural spaces and places and having various case studies from Serbia, from Scotland, from Ukraine, and then a panel more broadly about the power of placemaking. So I will first of all invite our first speaker up, Ana Ilic, who is the managing director of Serbia Creates and the new Lozionica space in Belgrade, and is going to talk about how cultural spaces can be transformed into hubs for creativity and collaboration. Ana, you're welcome.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Are we starting with a video, maybe? Okay, great, thanks. Thank you. Lozionica is, let me explain the name first. It's actually a name for a place that's a railway depot. It's a place where locomotives used to come into to get coal or steam or water to get run. So Lozionica literally means firing up, starting something up, and as though it was used 100 years ago for firing up locomotives, these days we are turning it into a place to fire up ideas, to fire up the future of creativity, future of innovation, future of mixture of science and art and technology and business in one physical space, which will be Lozionica. But let me give you a bit of a background. I'll back up about 7 or 8 years ago. When we first started building Lozionica, actually I'll run just here to show you what it was like a few years ago when we started reconstructing it. The idea was born 5 years ago, but 2 years ago and a few months we started actually from this point. This is what it was like back then, and this is what it is today. But again, let me back up 7 years ago when at the office of then Prime Minister Ana Brnabić of Serbia, we established a team for creative industries. And to support that team, we established a council for creative industries that consisted of all the most influential, most remarkable people in creative industries in the country to define an action plan how to support and develop creative industries and then also promote them internationally from Serbia. You see, in Serbia, there were a lot of different initiatives, artists, creatives, but it was all scattered. It was all over the place. It was never called as a unified sector of creative industries before. It was all arts and culture, but then separately architecture, and then separately IT, and then media, but it was all over the place. Nobody looked at it as a whole one sector. And then we took the first serious look, in-depth look into it, and we did an economic assessment of its economic impact on the economy of Serbia. And we realized that they actually contributed 7% to the economy, to the GDP of Serbia. They employed over 120,000 people. Nowadays, it's already more than 150,000 people. That they employed more than half of the people were women, basically, and 70% highly educated. Young people between 25 and 44 years of age. So we saw a real great potential in the industry, but there was no unifying narrative about it, and which is why we came up with this platform and brand called Serbia Creates, which stood for Serbia Creates Film, Serbia Creates Art, Serbia Creates Music, and then also spread into Serbia Creates Talent, Opportunities, Innovation, and so on. So the next few years, we worked a lot with a number of artists and creatives and innovators and even scientists all over the country on a number of different projects with all of the stakeholders, and we especially supported their promotion or their work outside of the country to promote Serbia as a modern country of the 21st century. But while doing that, we realized that actually we needed a physical space to put all these people together, like a melting pot, like a crossroads, like a mixture point where they would all come with their ideas and then create something completely new. And then we saw this old, depleted railway building, and we realized this seems a perfect spot to be used for our creative hub. So what used to run the second industrial revolution in Serbia will now run the fourth, or actually even the fifth industrial revolution in our country and the entire region, because there is nothing similar in the region. So this started 2 years ago, and now it's almost over, and we expect to open it in the fall. All the construction work is over. It consists basically of several buildings. The Roundhouse, which is the actually creative hub. The water tower, this is an 100-year-old water tower that's very significant for the citizens of Serbia. We are turning it now into a multimedia immersive exhibition space. The outdoor area where we had a turntable, but now this will be a stage for events, conferences, concerts, all sorts of performing arts. And we have the new business building, which is the government's Office of IT and e-government, also Center of Digitization for the government of Serbia, and management of Lozionica, of course. This is the center where there will be always dialogue between the public, the private business sector, and the government on all things digital and future. We'll also have Institute of AI of the government of Serbia joining us there. Inside, this is a very multifunctional space. It will have a restaurant, a beautiful black box multifunctional room for 700 seats, an exhibition hall, and a lot of small places for education, for workshops, fab labs, incubators, concept store, a small conference room, practice room, and so on. We'll also have a podcast studio and an AV studio, and so on. So a very multifunctional space with all the glass walls so that it's all transparent, it's see-through, people can come and see others working, can feel invited to join in, and they can work and create new projects in the space here. This is the exhibition space with lots of light, lots of daylight. The multifunctional space, again, for conferences, fashion shows, theater, art, music, trade shows, and so on. The F&B area inside and outside, and the park outside to be used also for all sorts of activities, activations, but also concerts and big events. The water tower, again, with the inside for immersive exhibitions, and the business building. Now we are at the point where this was about a year ago. Now we are already done. This is the front facade, also protected by the government's Office of Monuments Protection. So the whole building is very significant for Belgrade, for the capital of Serbia, because it's in the center of a new urban development by the waterfront, and it's the first in this big area that is committed to arts and culture, basically, and creative industries and innovation. So the whole area is a big urban development with lots of residences and residential spaces, and they need more content within their local area. And this is what we will create. But not only for the neighborhood, it's also for the entire city, but also for the entire country and the region. This is a true big capital government project. Government of Serbia invested 63 million of euros to do the reconstruction of the building and build the new building. But we set up a government-founded company to manage the facility further on. We have a business plan for the next 5 years to make it self-sustainable. And it will be run by an experienced group of people, mostly Serbia Creates team, to make all the programs and work with a number of partners. Our idea is to have tenants that are not just using the space for their business, but also to be partners and to contribute with their programs to our overall program and vision. And the vision is to make this a melting pot, really, of arts, culture, creativity, IT or tech, business and science. So there are no real lines between those sectors and those activities, but they all work together here and create something very new and create the future of Serbia and drive it, basically. It is also crucially important for us to be very well internationally connected, which is why we've worked with the British Council from the very beginning of the entire endeavor. We will also have a big partner inside, which is the American Resource Center of the American Embassy in Belgrade. We're doing programs together, and they'll have their own little space inside. We're also working with the French government and the French Center from Paris, Center of 104. They're our partners and mentors, currently transferring their knowledge to us, helping us set up the business and run programs in the future. And we are very also proud of having established last year a regional network between Western Balkans countries, Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia or Republika Srpska, Montenegro, Albania, and did I mention Slovenia? I'm not sure. But we all established a network of similar initiatives and spaces to work together, exchange artists, experience, and knowledge. So this is in short about Lozionica. I'll be happy to answer your questions whenever possible. But please come as a fall to visit us there and help us build this new community, this new ecosystem in Serbia in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anna. Congratulations. We now actually have a special address because one of our speakers who was supposed to join us, Deepa Mann-Kler, has not been able to travel for health reasons, but she has sent through a video message in lieu of her presentation in person. So I think we're going to go to that now and show that. And she is reflecting on what does it mean to create at the intersection of place, identity, and technology.
Hi, everybody. I'm really sorry not to be with you in person, but delighted to have this opportunity to share this presentation pre-recorded. So my name is Deepa Mann-Kler. I am the XR lead with Atlantic Institute, the CEO of Neon, an artist, visiting professor in immersive futures, director of the Belfast XR Festival, and a non-executive director. So, in my 5-minute presentation today, I'm going to share how living in Belfast has shaped not only my creative journey, but how place, identity, and technology intersect to drive inclusive innovation. And when I talk about XR, I am referring to the umbrella term of emerging technologies, which includes virtual, augmented, and mixed realities. And we cannot talk about XR without also talking about co-design, equality, diversity, and inclusion. These are values that must underpin and lie at the heart of the worlds that we create. So a question that drives my work is, how can we use augmented reality, i.e. AR, to transform digital spaces into platforms for positive action, while enabling fluid movement between the physical and virtual worlds? AR street art begins to answer this. It turns city walls into interactive canvases that spark dialogue, challenge perceptions, and invite community participation in reimagining the public space. And the story is based on deep love street art, which is found in the heart of Belfast. So by layering interactive, context-aware content onto real-world environments, AR fosters deep connections to place, to amplify underrepresented voices and inspire civic engagement. Projects like AR street art exemplify this shift. They turn static urban services into dynamic canvases for storytelling, for protest, and cultural expression. Now, these digital interventions not only animate public spaces, but they also invite participation. They reimagine the streets as inclusive, evolving forums for dialogue and collective imagination. And now AR street art has been integrated into live street art tours. And this has enhanced the traditional tourism experiences. So visitors using their phones to reveal hidden stories, animations, and soundscapes embedded within murals. They bring the city's walls to life and offer a deeper understanding of local histories and social movements. So AR Peace Wall is a twinning project between Belfast and Hiroshima. It uses the crane, a global symbol of peace, as its central motif. And the experience commemorates the profound human and environmental loss of the atomic bombing, which claimed the lives of 650,000 people. And it commemorates the Troubles, where 3,000 lives were lost. But before explaining what AR Peace Wall does, it's important to understand why it was created. Now, in Northern Ireland, space is a deeply contested and politicized concept. The peace lines, also known as peace walls, are physical barriers that separate Catholic and Protestant communities, a legacy of decades of conflict. There are 97 peace walls which stretch over 21 miles across Belfast and Northern Ireland. And they symbolize both division and the complex journey towards reconciliation. So AR Peace Wall explores peace building digitally. And it tells the story of a little boy on the morning of the atomic bomb. And at its core, this story explores the diverse paths taken towards peace building and the extraordinary resilience of life, even in the face of heat 40 times greater than that of the sun. It is ultimately a story of survival and hope. But what excites me most about AR is its ability to transform how we remember history in public spaces, shifting power by capturing and sharing collective memory. AR offers new ways to engage with the past, democratize space, and foster deeper education and connection in the very places that we move through each and every day. But with no current regulations defining ownership of digital space anchored in the physical world, AR remains open and accessible to everyone. This makes it a really powerful tool, especially in the realm of social justice. So thank you for listening today. Please take a note of my email address, Deepa at Discover Neon. And reach out if there is anything in my presentation today that resonated with you. And please enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
We're so sorry not to have Deepa here in person, so if anyone does want to connect, please do let us know, and we can help to make that connection directly to her. We're going to travel now from the north of Ireland over back to Scotland and invite back to stage Gillian Eason from Creative Dundee, who's going to talk to us about Dundee's creative ecosystem and that connection between community and policy making. And Gillian, the stage is yours, please.
Hello again. It's lovely to be back. So I thought I'd bring our community, some of our community with me today, so welcome to Creative Dundee. I'm going to tell you a bit more about what we've been doing over the years with the organisation. And here's the temperamental clicker, it's all good. So just very briefly, a bit about Dundee and myself. So yes, it's a city that's on the northeast coast of Scotland. I'm not going to read this all out word for word. It's got a really vibrant video games cluster, so had the first video games course in the UK about 35 years ago, and it still continues to be a really great location for games businesses. We are the UK's only UNESCO City of Design. We've got big old V&A Dundee based here, and yeah, as I said earlier, the creative industries are the key sector in the city. So it's a really small, ambitious, Declan mentioned punching above the weight kind of vibe city. My background is in design, innovation, creative entrepreneurship, startups. I really got disillusioned with growth for growth's sake in about the financial crisis time. Giving out lots of cash investment to startups is great, but once that dries up, then all you're left with is people and a place trying to do their thing. So I started a blog called creativedundee.com and just started populating it with stories that were happening in my city. Now, I didn't do this at that point in time forever. I was doing this on top of my day job, but about 10 years ago, it was other people that started to say to me, that Creative Dundee thing that you do is quite interesting, maybe you should do more of it. So inspired by other people, I have been on a journey of establishing Creative Dundee, which is now a charity. And we are an organisation that is increasingly difficult to define, but we're a network organisation with some kind of whistles and bells now that we've been going a little bit longer. And we're increasingly working at the intersection of other big challenges that our city and our world is facing, so climate justice, future of our high streets, health and wellbeing, etc. So we predominantly run events, projects, and we have a digital platform. And I'm just going to briefly touch on them. So in terms of our public engagement, I think this comes up a lot about how do you bring the public along on the journey with you as a in the journey of creative economy work. So one of the ways we like to do it is crowdsourcing. It's a really good way of us engaging with the public, quite a light touch way. And we've been producing this little guide, 99 Things to See and Do, for a number of years now, and it's just simply a Google form. There's no magic in it. It's just simply a Google form that we actively promote, get people to kind of contribute into, and then we curate and collate into this little guide. And it's a really popular little thing. So universities use it for new freshers coming to the city. NHS sometimes uses it to recruit, that's National Health Service, sometimes use it to recruit people to move to the city. The cultural organisations all stock it. And it's just a lovely way of boosting civic pride, which we find is really important at Creative Dundee. Another thing that you probably have come across, Pecha Kucha Night. So we run the largest Pecha Kucha in the UK, and it's basically a speed presenting format, a wee bit similar to what you're experiencing today. Again, a really democratic way of hearing from a bunch of different people on one night. So there's no keynote speakers, which is a joy. Everybody's got the same amount of time. Love it. And what I love about it is the audience is incredibly diverse. You've got purple here from one end of the age spectrum to purple here at the other end of the spectrum. And then we have our digital platform. So that is a really active place. That's our venue, as it were, because we're a very nomadic organisation. And we prioritise individuals, grassroots activities, and really prioritise representation and access. So we like to speak about scaling deep. Yeah, you can scale out, you can scale up, but scaling deep, changing the culture of our place. So we have an AMPS network who financially contribute to the organisation. We create a community ideas fund, so that gets redistributed back out to the community. People pitch their ideas to the other AMPS and they vote. We run quite a significant fund for Creative Scotland, the arts funding body in Scotland, which is about establishing and enabling other existing creative networks to grow. And then we have Fabric, which is a sort of peer learning programme for creative practitioners, mainly around like social and climate justice. So some of the chunkier stuff that we've been more involved with recently, as I say, Future of the High Streets work. So HapWorks, we acknowledged, like has been referenced quite a lot today, the challenge of space to make, perform, share, etc. is just not there. So we've been working with our local authority, local government, and property owners on how we can change that system. It's really slow, as you will all know, but we're getting there. Cultivate was our project that resourced creative practitioners to be at the heart of communities, particularly during COVID and the never-ending pandemic that we saw. And Dundee Changemakers Hub has been the legacy from that project, which has been a project that we have worked with 4 other social enterprises to kind of attract quite a significant chunk of Scottish Government funds to enable us to drive work in communities with skills, tools, and we ran a pilot project around community journalism for young people. And it's all, again, about social justice and about raising voices and the storytelling that, again, we've heard quite a lot about today, which has been great. So yes, we're a hyper-local community, but we absolutely need to be looking outwards, and we always are. And I'm just so inspired by everything I've heard today. Thank you so much for everybody for sharing. So yeah, we very much see it as mutual sharing of knowledge, methods, and tools. So this is some of the work that we've done. I think actually maybe some of the delegates today are pictured in the Turkey photo. Anyway, so we love actually working alongside fellow partners elsewhere, and some of the things that we've done along the way include working on creative hubs and the Connections Through Culture project, which I believe is live just now. So just to sort of wrap up, I believe in shaping policy from the ground up. We do a lot of advocacy. I've mentioned some of this stuff already, so I'll not labour it, but yeah, we're increasingly doing a lot on fair work, on advocating on behalf of budget cuts, which is a tricky territory to navigate if you get some public funding, but we do it, I think, relatively well. We developed Dundee's first creative industry strategy, and we're always in the process of expanding and growing, so yeah, storytelling is really critical to that, as are the creative practitioners that tell those stories. So how we commission people to kind of create the stories, whether that be filmmaking, whether that be illustration. And we have a tool that we've kind of been using along the way, live audits, that give us a really rapid feedback loop from participants, either at events or online. So yeah, recommendations, I guess, for policymakers maybe in the room and beyond. I do truly believe in funding at the intersection of social, cultural and economic outcomes. That will take us much further, faster together. I think investing in creative networks and not just institutions is wise. I think it's wonderful to see the breadth of organisations here, and it's quite uncommon, to be honest, that I'm not in a room that is just lots of cultural venues. So I think sector development organisations, creative network organisations, they're really critical to the fabric and the ecosystem of our places. Embedding creative practitioners in policy design and not just simply consultation, I think is really, really critical. Fairness, place-based leadership. Yeah, I think hyper-local place-based leadership is really critical. We're going to hear from an incredible speaker next, and we're going to hear, I think, about the resilience of our places, and I think hyper-local places will have to become the kind of resilient communities of our future. in the UK and around the world, we've seen like cyber terrorism really take down all the big brands. You know, it's the local communities that are going to keep us going long term. And for me, yes, scaling deep, so getting under the culture, the fabric culture of our places, at a human scale will be really critical for systemic change and real growth. And yes, here are a couple of things that people have said over the years. Thank you so much to those policymakers. Policymakers, don't underestimate like how important and how much it keeps small organisations going to have their names attached to big policy things. It absolutely keeps us going. And yeah, I really look forward to the continued conversations over today and tomorrow. And thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you, Gillian. Wow, so much there. I think that will really, really resonate with a lot of us in the room. And as you said, we have another incredible speaker next. So I would like to invite to the stage Alexander Veseleny, who is Director of the Department of City Marketing and Tourism from Vinnytsia in Ukraine. Welcome, Alexander.
Good afternoon, and I'd like to thank to the British Council, Simforum, and the Beyond Studio for such an inspiring event, and for providing me and us, Ukraine, the opportunity to be heard from the stage. But not only the experience of Vinnytsia, which I represent with 400,000 people living in it, but also other Ukrainian cities which are present here near us, namely Lutsk, Kosiv, Ternopil, and Kyiv. So having a voice on this stage is a chance to tell you about what we've been through, and also hear how our experience resonates with your expertise and your vision. If we look at the core topic, core concept of today's topic, resilient placemaking, I think it can be considered as one of the least explored in the theory of creative industries and urban development. Globally, resilience often conjures images of preparing for disasters, social unrest, or climate changes, and it speaks to maintaining stability in basic needs, but also in a deeper human level. In the context of Ukraine, you might recall the images and the familiar events of the Chernobyl catastrophe or the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam. These disasters, alongside their immense humanitarian consequences, teach us also about what comes next with affected territories, the people, and environments. As we see in these cases, nature demonstrates greater resilience and ability to recover than the human soul. The reason for this probably lies in the rapid replacement of damaged processes and with new ones, sometimes very predictive, but sometimes very creative. So can our cities and communities prepare for challenges of such scales? The city of Vinnytsia, which is considered to be the cradle of decentralization in Ukraine, has become a leader in strengthening the role of local self-government during the past 2 decades. This is also reflected in a continuous tradition of urban development, planning and strategizing for over 10 years by now. To dispel the impression that this list suggests more multiplication of documents rather than concrete actions, here's just one eloquent fact for you. For 7 consecutive years, Vinnytsia has been recognized by its residents as the most livable and cozy city in Ukraine, which we are still very proud of. But at the same time, the comfort zone, let's call it, can lead to a decline in the ability to think outside the box and to innovate. So let's say coziness equals laziness. And as we embarked on a new strategic cycle aiming to brand Vinnytsia as the city of ideas, we confronted a vital question. What is the creative sector's true role in shaping our urban fabric, our economy, and the very bonds between the people? This led to our bold 2030 strategic goal, a vibrant city, to the path to transforming Vinnytsia into a dynamic yet balanced and still very livable community through culture, tourism and creativity. Our collaborations, public, civic, private, have propelled us onto Ukraine's creative and festival map, boosting the event, tourism, and also earning us multiple cultural and tourism awards. Nestled in the heart of Ukraine, just 250 kilometers from Kyiv, the capital, we became a magnet for artists, managers, and opinion leaders who seek new frontiers of the so-called cultural decentralization. However, the start of the invasion on February 24th, 2022, plunged representatives of our sectors, as much as all another, into a profound existential crisis. But instead of shattering, our established horizontal connections became lifelines. So we sheltered war-affected Ukrainians, distributed thousands of tons of humanitarian aid, and rushed to impact sites to feed rescuers and clear rubble, just as I think most of those who sit here did also. The first year of aggression, with its relentless energy infrastructure shelling, taught us resilience at every agonizing step. So social cultural facilities were transformed into shelters and points of unbrokenness, having a chance to stay during air raids or blackouts, where people found worth, power, and vital community support. City tours, for example, became a tool for integrating internally displaced persons and later veterans, helping them return to social activity during rehabilitation. It's no coincidence that the biggest achievement in tourism for our city is the launch of the official branch of Camino de Santiago from Vinnytsia, and over 500 pilgrims by now have walked it, finding mindfulness and healing on their journeys. These hundreds of initiatives erupted spontaneously, driven by a fierce desire to fill the void created by constant stress and existential threat. Yet we faced the familiar public debate, what we call, let's say, the time is not proper for this, or in Ukrainian it's called "ne na chasi," meaning that the state or local budgets, expenditures, sponsorship, philanthropy, or crowdfunding must be prioritized for, of course, supporting defense forces and humanitarian needs. In this situation, many cultural activists have nothing left but to once again refer to an iconic yet fake quote by Churchill: "What are we fighting for then, if not for culture?" As you can see, our nation's admiration to British figures extends beyond Boris Johnson. So, yeah, we like this fake quote very much. But what did our city do instead? With research and focus group data already in hand from the EU for Culture program, which helped us develop our cultural strategy, we refused to postpone this document, this culture development strategy, until after the victory. Instead, we shaped it to forge a new quality of a cultural policy in the city, prioritizing safety, inclusion, education, and of course the support of new initiatives. The first rule of any policy is to be data-driven, and we as the students of British Council courses know that data is often very elusive in the creative economy, especially in Ukraine, you have to believe me. But we gave it a try, and last year, for the first time, we reached out to the tax authority, tracking the dynamics of creative business entities, excluding the IT, because it has a very large scale in our city, so it's not much representative when we look out to the creative industries, and their tax contributions to our local budget over 3 years of aggression. The results were not just surprising, they were exhilarating, yet still 1.5% of our budget, this is a visible growing presence in our local economy. So is the time not proper for culture? I'd like to highlight just briefly how the art spaces founded during the aggression in Vinnytsia are reshaping audience relationships and expanding markets for creative products and also the values which they give to the society. The most poignant example is the Heroes bookstore, founded by a family of Mann-Kler, a fallen Ukrainian soldier and a philologist from Vinnytsia, like a testament to memory and resilience in every corner of this bookstore, every presentation or reading, and every book club. Actually, during the war, over 100 new bookstores have opened in Ukraine, 3 in Vinnytsia alone, because Ukrainians are reconnecting with their culture through reading. So in our case, the municipality of Vinnytsia now co-finances up to 70% of new local publications, ensuring also their promotion. The next example, the Etnochari ceramic space, also founded by a local couple, champions traditional art and contemporary pottery of Podillia. Beyond exhibitions and craft sales, they offer also art therapy for the war-affected individuals. And recently, working with a local rehabilitation center and the city council, they launched Ukraine's first pottery school for visually impaired veterans, not just for psychological recovery, but to foster their economic independence in the future with new skills and occupation. The true heart of our cultural transformation is the tiny pitch space with only just 2 basement rooms. It's really a vibrant hub for independent artists and musicians, a place for art sales and a training ground for creative industries. The Ply Art Association, who operates this place, is indispensable in our cultural innovation, from underground concerts through interdisciplinary educational courses to integrating displaced artists. They become key to our local cultural strategy over the past 5 years. As demand for larger independent spaces grew, the Montage Gallery emerged, which fosters curatorial excellence, multimedia and performative projects, and residencies sparked with new product creation. It's a location like with few others within shopping malls, so it comes to us the idea that we should dedicate a municipal building, a bigger one, to a future culture innovation center. Why now? Because institutionalizing cultural innovations across diverse themes is vital for building horizontal connections and solidifying our local identity. But even thousands of square meters in this building, which we have already chosen, are not our limits. Since 2019, the city and activists has been revitalizing a neglected state summer camp, which is now municipal property. This is now the so-called Sun Territory, a unique portal in the city, on the city's outskirts, leading to a magnificent forest, rocks, and a river. If you're a fan of broken windows theory, that's the place in Vinnytsia you definitely have to visit. Yet over 6 years, we've hosted dozens of artistic, ecological, tourist, and urban weekends. Thousands have flocked here, ready to co-create, volunteer, and shape this 4-hectare space. Last year, expert residencies solidified a holistic concept for Sun Territory as a center for recovery, culture, and ecology, focusing on arts, eco-education, physical and mental practices, and creative product development. The essence is to fill the space with meaning, activities, and locations that harmoniously coexist with nature and our neighbors. So we believe this is how nature will help the human soul heal faster too. Vinnytsia is now on the verge of launching major infrastructure projects for our city's creative economy, such as the Crystal Innovation Park for startups, the Center for Cultural Innovation, Sun Territory, and an art shelter. None of these ambitious projects would be possible during wartime without articulating the clear needs of our residents and securing the unwavering support of businesses, donors, and partners. Their decision to invest in the unwavering support and these projects processes is a direct result of our unwavering conviction in the pivotal role of culture and creative industries in resilient placemaking within Ukrainian cities. Wherever you work, wherever you stand, you must be prepared for everything to turn upside down in an instant moment, for ambitious ideas to become impossible or to be put on hold indefinitely. But even in those moments, I urge you to remember the experience of Ukrainian cities during wartime, such as other countries and cities which are still fighting for their freedom. Continue to create, be brave, maintain your resilience. Thank you for your attention. Slava Ukraini!
Thank you, Alexander. What a rich picture you've painted there. Thank you so much. Were you just about to move this? Okay. We will move to the next panel then. And we will continue on the topic of placemaking. I'll just get out the way. So if I could invite Anush as our chair to come back, please, to the stage. And then we have a new panel for you. Errol Bilbiani from DocuFest, Kieran Sethi from Factory International in Manchester, who has just arrived on the plane. Kieran, great to see you. And Logan Koczyski from DFest in Macedonia. Please come up and join us, and Anusha will hand over to you to chair the conversation. Okay. We've just found a bracelet. Yeah? Oh, great.
Wonderful speeches about placemaking from our colleagues from Ukraine, from Northern Ireland, from Scotland. So now let's dive deeper into the power of placemaking and how it can shift the cultural identity, the urban life, and the innovation of a place. So to do that, here with me are our panelists. Errol Bilibani, head of DocuFest and DocuLab in Kosovo. Here is Kieran Sethi, program manager of Factory International UK, and Logan Koczyński, who is the founder of DFest in Macedonia. So before I jump into the questions, I would like to ask you each to speak about the work that you do, especially connected to the places that they are running in. Let's start with Aaron.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. Well, DocuFest is a cultural organization. I run the educational department of the organization. We work throughout the year to have this 9 days of the festival, which has been running for 24 years now. And when we, in a way, started the festival, we'd never thought about the placemaking. It was something that came very naturally, and turned out the festival was established because of the venue, because we had this very, very long tradition of cinema going until the late 80s, early 90s, and then, you know, a little bit before the war, and then after the war, the cinema culture kind of ceased to exist. So basically, we wanted to return our cinema culture back. There was this beautiful cinema, Dundee, in the center of the city, that became like our place where the community would gather. So basically, it was not something that we would, in a way, serve to the community, but it was something organizing together with the community. It was 20 films, 3 days, just local people, which in a way also created this sense of identity. And then fast forward 24 years later, it is one of the major film festivals, documentary and short film festivals in the region. It is a source of inspiration for a lot of young people, but most importantly, it gives this sense of identity to our local people. So, you know, I'm very proud to be part of it. And we have this saying in Prizren, we say Prizren state of mind because of DocuFest.
Wonderful, that's a wonderful saying. Kieran?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm from a place called Manchester. Has anyone heard of Manchester? Yeah? And what do you know about Manchester? What do you think the taxi driver said to me when I said I was from Manchester? Manchester United, or sadly now City. I am Manchester United. But I think the thing about Manchester is it's been storytelling for so long. The first industrial city, the first place to break the atom, the first computer. There's always been this narrative, and the company I work for really, I think, built on that. So the company I work for used to be called Manchester International Festival. Some of you may have been there before. It is, and still is, a festival that takes place every 2 years in Manchester, and one-of-the-kind art. We've had amazing artists come through. We had Yoko Ono in 2019. We had, more recently, Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders do a performance. We even had Kanye West in 2007, but we don't really talk about that anymore. But that still kind of shows that the level of artists we brought to the city. So we started this festival. I say we, I mean I joined in 2020, but the festival started in 2007 officially and built off that idea that Manchester has so much to offer, but we need to bring the international community to our city to really tie it all together. So Manchester International Festival happened 2007 onwards. But then we got a pot of funding from the government to create a new building, a state-of-the-art building, which is now called Aviva Studios. Some of you may have been there. It's an amazing place, and really it was built to kind of rival London. So now our company is called Factory International, which runs Aviva Studios. And to add to the confusion, I work for Factory Academy, which is a department within it. And the whole point of what we do is trying to make art and creativity something which is accessible to people in Manchester. So the work that I do is about making education free, creative education free. People can join our courses, they can learn, develop personally, grow community, but also access space in the building, and hopefully, if they want to, of course, if they want to work in this industry, access jobs. So I've been there for the past 5 years, and I'm really proud to say, in those 5 years, we've had 1,000 people graduate from our programs, and over 150 of them have accessed paid roles at our company, and many more in the sector. So yeah, looking forward to telling you a little bit more about that today.
Wonderful, thank you. Login?
Yeah, first of all, I will congrats to Manchester United for a great season. I coming from Macedonia, country where 48 years ago was born creative industry, because my father was called me Login. So from then I decided to follow the road what he showed me, and I opened the company name at Password. So this company, to survive in Macedonia, needs to work more deeper in a creative business, means washing money and stuff like that. So we organize a conference named PIN Conference, also very creative, and it's a conference, showcase conference, where we are coming around 400 or 500 delegates, talking about how to kill AI and how to make money without working. Also, we have 50 artists from 20 different countries who play on that conference, and to make closer our job to the audience, all the panels and concerts are free for the people, and they don't need accreditation like you here. So the older son of Password is a Taxirat Festival, which means bad destiny, because was born in 1999 when a lot of republics don't want to see each other from ex-Yugoslavia, and that was the first time when the bands from Serbia, Croatia, Albania, Bosnia was played together, and we want to show that the bad destiny can also be just a word. This year is the 27th edition of the festival, and probably is the biggest alternative festival in Skopje, Macedonia, where we have between 15,000 and 20,000 people per year. And our favorite song, it's named The Festival. The Festival because it's happened in Doiran, city forbidden from the government and from the God, where live only 500 voters. And from a, let's say they call city, but from a small village, we make probably the best investment in economy, what can happen in one small city, bringing 10-15,000 people per day who come with a big wish to spend all his money on drinks and everything. So this is my short idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, Gillian actually mentioned a really nice term, which is scaling deeper into the community. So doing that, I would like to ask you, each of you, to talk a little about how this placemaking has really reshaped your community. What is the one unique identity, like the point on which you kind of lean into when talking about the cities that you're working in? And how do you keep the balance between like embracing the heritage of the space, but also innovating it for the future generations? So whoever wants to start.
I'm happy to start because, I mean, Factory International was named after Factory Records, which is a famous Manchester record label, which had people like Joy Division, later New Order, a lesser known band but still quite massive, ESG, which was like a punk group from New York. So the whole name and ethos is built on that legacy. But also I think in Manchester we're getting a bit sick of talking about people from the past and talking about bands like Oasis. So it's one of those ones where you want to keep the past to kind of fuel the present, but you need to look for the future. So kind of embedded within our company is the ethos of, our mission statement is to invent tomorrow together. So there is a real sort of thing of this is our place to work collectively to create rather than a top-down thing. So for our organisation, there's a lot of initiatives for artist development. So giving money to artists to make their art, giving space in the building for artists to bring their creations to life, creating educational courses to help people develop the professional skills, the networks and the ideas of what they can do, and then the opportunities to go into. So I think it's one of those, we use the place as the kind of like heritage to get people excited. And I mean, growing up in Manchester, before I knew I wanted to work in this sector, I knew that Manchester was a creative place. You hear the stories from your parents about going to the Hacienda. You hear about Manchester and all these kind of things. So it's definitely there, and it also attracts people to the city to want to be creative. So it's kind of built that legacy. But we do need to look to the future to make sure that it's not just
that cinema was part of. And then one year we dedicated an entire theme of the festival to change and to, civic resistance and to protect the cinema. Not that we managed to protect the cinema. Cinema was declared as a space of special interest, first by the municipality and then later a space of a cultural heritage. And it's protected by law now, so it cannot be destroyed, so cinema will stay there. And now our Ministry of Culture is also investing into reconstructing it and making it even more functional, so we are going to have a really, really cooler space than we did, but maintaining its original interior. Prizren today has 16 cinemas in total, so basically, from a festival in a city without a functional cinema. We also started using, what city had to offer, the cultural heritage, which was in a way also a way to promote our cultural heritage, because it's an old city, from Byzantine Empire to Ottoman Empire and, all the way to date. So we started using the Turkish bath, the old hammam, as a space for discussions, for talks. We started using the river. We would build still a platform on top of the river, so you basically watch a film while the river goes beneath you. We have a fortress where we have 2 screens. We introduced music. We started creating spaces for music, so a lot of concerts, which in a way also diversified our audiences. So we had young and old, coming to watch films and music, and then somebody would take their grandma to a concert, grandma would take her grandchildren to a film. And it was this cohesion, this amazing atmosphere that was created in the city. So basically, as I said earlier, people in Prizren created this identity, but not only in Prizren, throughout Kosovo, because this resistance, civic resistance to protect the cinema created emotion. So in another city, another organization started protecting another cinema, another public space. So it created this motion, and now we can say we have some spaces that can be used for cultural activities and for creative economy. And for the hotels to go back, today Prizren has around 50 hotels. It's a touristic city, so it shows like how a cultural event can affect the cultural tourism, thus bring economic development to a city.
It's so beautiful to see how lack of conventional resources can become a space for innovation. It's great, thank you. Logan?
Battery Records, it was just made in abandoned industrial spaces. That's what made the aesthetic, made the music. That's kind of the interesting thing of you find spaces and then organically make from there. Whereas now our organisation has got to a point where we've done that as a city, but now we're purposely making spaces, which is quite an interesting one.
Yeah, great. Logan, do you have anything to?
Not really, because I'm in not good relationship with the cultural heritage, because because Orthodox Church is very angry on me, because the last time when we organized the festival, we do a techno party in his place, and we was very open and say that we'll have a music, but they are angry because I don't say which kind of music. So yeah, it's a small
just
difference.
Just tiny detail.
Yeah, details. So, but if I speak about the festivals, yes, we have also a camp for 5,000 people, because the city is very small and don't have a capacity for everybody. We don't try to be just music festivals. We try to have everything what is possible. We try to don't take a business from DocuFest, but also we have a cinema stage. We bring around 30-50 NGOs, and we have sports. We have even the woman who can read your destiny in the future. Usually fell, but she trying with years to prove me that one day I will be very rich, but still not happen. In general, the city lives for this festival. It was very nice when one old man in a restaurant say that have 3 holidays. One is the Day of the Worker, 1st of May. The second is Independence of Macedonia, and the third one is the festival. So it's a kind of win situation for us. And I asked him one day to make a big club in a city named Saint Login.
Which the church is also not happy about.
Yeah. Or at least to have a name in some primary school. Yeah.
As a compensation, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Errol, now talking about DocuFest, you already mentioned how it's turning Prizren into this sprawling kind of beautiful cultural activity. So can you talk a little about, I know you have done a few projects, especially recently, how do I see you, and also Breaking Borders, and in general, like how do these interventions work for the everyday people living in the Prizren? How do they engage with that, and how do they see their city changing as it happens?
Well, our activity when it comes to spaces and locations is in Prizren, but our activities that we do are open nationwide, so throughout the country. These 2 projects that we have, one is an example of the regional collaboration that we do, especially when it comes to young people, bringing young people, because, as Logan said, after 99, nobody wanted to speak to anyone. Nobody knew any books. And, through hatred in general, they were taught to hate each other. So basically what we did, we created a camp, an intercultural camp, bringing them together and just placing them in one place. And, you know, giving them the opportunity to cook, to watch films, to listen to music, to talk about their dreams, about their first kiss, you know, about love in general. And then, you know, whatever happens, happens. And then in the end, we gave them cameras, and we asked them to create visual portraits of each other. It was astonishing. I mean, you know, it was, all the results were like this space, this empathetic space was created, you know, in these videos, in these interviews. I will never forget that one of the participants said, like, I'm so happy that I left this space for my own opinion to create, you know, an opinion of the other, you know, just to have this space of mine and not listen to my grandparents, to my school friends, not to read the magazines, because everything is wrong. Everything is totally different. Once we come together and we start talking about real stuff, and we started from a human level, we realize that our dreams are the same, our struggles are the same. You know, we live in the same region, we share the same air. It's the only thing is that history and this, you know, very, very biased narratives of each other in each country are in a way dividing. So we did this. This was created as a visual exhibition. So. Displayed in the city in various locations, but participants were from very different places from the region. This other one was a very interesting experience with the Scottish Documentary Institute, which finished just recently. We had a residency program where we brought 4 of the alumni of Scottish Documentary Institute, their Bridging the Gap program, and our Future is Here program for emerging filmmakers to think about radical collaboration in a polarized world and make films that are political, films that, you know, they are in this new space, in this new location to find stories that are political. The results were really very, very good. We have 3, what I think can be solid films, which will be presented this year at the festival. But this collaboration, this, you know, bringing together artists, filmmakers, you know, from the and then exploring stories that are in a way connected to sexual violence, I don't know, migration, social justice, was really, really astonishing. And then having someone from Scotland and someone from Kosovo working on these topics, it was challenging but very, very rewarding.
Yeah. That's a wonderful crossover in a way. Kieran, you mentioned about the Factory Academy.
Yeah.
So since I'm guessing that you work with the community that is getting that education quite a lot, can you talk a little about that and how do they kind of get empowered from it?
Yeah, for sure. So the basic premise is that when we were given the amount of funding to make the building, there had to be a commitment to helping people from Manchester to access employment. So it's very clear we can't just have all this money given to a space and it doesn't give back to the city. It can't just be an experiential place for the usual suspects in the UK who go to art who are normally more affluent, because there's a kind of inbuilt inequality with access to art. So it was very much skills and training though, so actually being able to learn the professional skills needed to access roles, paid opportunities. So that's the basic premise, and also as a key on improving representation. So we don't specifically focus on one area of underrepresentation. It's not just socioeconomic background, it's not just level of education or the postcode someone's from. It's all these different factors, and we're trying to work to try and improve a representation amongst loads of different lines. So with that as a premise, we've got this amazing space, and what we do is we bring people into the space to deliver free education. All of the education is informed by the people who work there, so we'll take the specialities of the people in the building and translate that into courses. So one of our most popular courses at the moment is called Event Ready, which is an academy about technical skills. So the people who set up the stages, do the lighting, do the rigging, and make everything happen. And I mean, in the past year, we've had 400 people apply to do that course and accommodated 110 because we've got the capacity to deliver at that sort of scale. So the courses have a creative focus, and if it wasn't about events, it could be about producing, which is a term that people maybe associate with music or film, but obviously it's the project managers who make art come to life, and a lot of people don't know about that, so there's a bit of like career knowledge in there. Or if it's not about something we do, we can work with external partners to create something, so we've done stuff about broadcasting film. Obviously we have our in-house music sort of offering, but working with the music industry to create courses about that. So there's always a creative focus, but I think the interesting thing is, as much as it's about creativity, a lot of the human aspects come, which is obviously the UK has been very privileged not to experience war on its own territory. But over the past 20 or so years, there's been a lot of widening inequality, and with that we have things like poor mental health, poor physical health. There's an increase in diagnosis of things like neurodivergence, depression, and you have a lot of people in the UK who are very isolated, and what we find is that by bringing people into a space in a repeated sort of format where each day they come in Monday to Friday, learning a skill, getting to be with other people, also has that powerful benefit of people feeling very safe in our venue, which isn't always the case, because if you look at this big venue, you don't see yourself there. But by bringing people in, treating them with respect, we pay for their food, their transport. If someone really can't make it, we'll order an Uber. I become a taxi rank some days. These kind of things, like we help people to use art as the initial interest point, but then bring them into a space, support them, and hopefully they access a job either with us or somebody else, and it builds that kind of confidence. So that's our approach, and we will keep scaling. At the moment, we've worked in just Greater Manchester, but my boss, Gary, got to travel to Japan the other day to talk about our approach, and some of it felt really innovative to Japanese people, which is quite interesting, because I always see Japanese people as being at the cutting edge of everything. So it was very interesting that what we're doing in our space, when we take it and talk about it in other places, like, oh wow, that's really interesting. So yeah, that's the basic premise: treat people with respect, free education, and then hopefully one of the main UN goals is sort of good, solid foundations of employment.
Wonderful. It's great to hear that you have an intention to kind of spread the model throughout.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be
world.
interested speaking with anyone who has any interest in skills training, education in their own city. I mean, it was amazing hearing about Dundee. That was a really interesting sort of case study about how you bring people together, train them up as creative practitioners, and have them at the forefront of policy. So, yeah, very interesting speaking with more people about that.
Great. So, Login, you take roots in the punk music, and you're a founder of a few festivals, including the D-Fest. So, how do you preserve the authenticity of the music, because it's quite underground, and kind of bring it to these new places and work it out with the space? I heard already a really bad case with the church, but I'm curious to know.
Half I understand you, so I will answer this half. So yes, maybe I grow up like a punk, but because I coming from Macedonia, I want to say that coming from hardcore, not from punk. Yeah. So what we improve from our life is, for example, on our festivals and concerts what we organize don't have VIP, so we are less with politicians, so nobody don't want to come on our events. So the things what we try to do it, I tried from the first moment. I think that all the festivals I built for myself to have a place where to go and to feel as I want to feel. So to have a space where I can drink what I want, I can talk what I want, I can stay with with who I want. So for me, it's we just talked with one friend outside that I don't understand these NGO words like multiculturalism and stuff like that, because for me this is a very natural stuff, you know. So few years ago, somebody in Macedonia told me, "Hey, we can give you money if you book one Greek band," and I say, "Last 15 years on my festival, play Greek band, so I need." To do it now because of the money. So for us, it's so this kind of festivals we organize. I think that, for example, if you go on our social media, we are very proud for this festival. In a country where it's full of anger, you cannot find any bad comments. Not because we are so good in organization, but because the people feel very nice inside. You know, so. I don't know. I think this coming from the I cannot say from punk. This coming from the way how we understand the things and we improve in our events. And I am very proud of this, not of our politician.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. It's also great to hear that Errol's earlier point reinforced that these things happen very organically in the spaces.
Yes. Hardcore.
And I have one more question to all of you, which is we obviously see a lot of rapid change in technologies, in AI, and how do you see your efforts in your own places and communities, and just in general, where do you see this going, and how would you like to embrace or not embrace the technological advancements, and how do you see your communities changing over time?
Remind me on my first festival, when I was organized, I was asking one of my colleagues to find somewhere in Macedonia radio stations, and he confirmed that he found. And then when the festival started, I asked him, give me the radio station, and he was kind of scary, or not scary, it's not the right, but he was like, wow, Logan will kill me now, but he found the solution in a second and told me, Logan, you will be Toki, I will be Voki. So that was my first connection with technology. So today we are not scared from that. We're trying to, especially in the music industry, we're trying to follow everything what coming out. You know, we talk a lot about AI. We talk a lot about who will took the money from auto rights tomorrow from the new songs and stuff like that. And we are not scared, but I don't know how this will finish. But we try to improve everything what's coming out on our festival. If I have budget for how will I say this ABBA show? Hologram, we will do hologram. So I want to try everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're trying with walkie-talkie. Yes.
I mean, it depends, because obviously I've got a real educational focus. And sometimes people get a bit too ahead of themselves and forget that a lot of people don't have access to a computer. So as much as we're getting excited about the potential of other technologies, it's not a given that the people we work with have access to the internet or to a laptop. So in terms of what we're trying to do, there is a bit of democratizing access to it, and we'll provide people with laptops and internet. And then when it comes to things like AI in education, I think could be a real positive. I think it has the potential to help a lot of people who experience sort of disadvantages when it comes to writing, for example. And if you are stuck in a sort of space of having to write loads for applications, but you have a barrier because you didn't access that level of education for whatever reason, I think it can be a real positive to help people to take their next steps into whatever it is they want to do. As an arts organization, kind of changing my hat, embracing it and trying to work with it rather than against it. In the building, normally when there is a big event, there's an AR sort of offering as well, so you can see the event in the space. So if you walk around the space, there'll be sort of added extras. We had that with the first event, Free Your Mind, which was based on The Matrix with Danny Boyle, where you could go around the building and still access different parts of it. Last year we had AR with a talking chicken. It was called Sweet Dreams, and you could follow this character around the building as well, and there was a VR headset. So yeah, just trying to embrace it and work with it rather than against it. And I think that there's probably always been fear of technology, I believe. Could be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thank you.
When it comes to us, we've embraced it very early. We even, in 2021, dedicated an entire edition to AI. And, you know, use of AI in creative industries, especially in film, because in 2021, 2022, there was a lot of discussions that started. Also in our educational program, we are trying to incorporate, but, you know, in a way, a bit more slowly, because people are, in a way, afraid of the AI, you know, the ways how to use it to people use it to create, not to learn from it. So we basically reversed the approach. We started, we have every year 200 young kids, aged 12 to 15, who come to different modules of the trainings. The first training is creating content for social media, but also learning cybersecurity at the same time. So basically learning to be safe while having online presence because of this very delicate age and vulnerability at that age. And then the second phase, the second module of the training is they go into learning storytelling, so film language, but also learning skills, camera, sound, lights, and most importantly, working together, because we want to show them that film is a collaborative craft, and they have to work together. And then, of course, in the end, editing. So basically learn the film language, how to edit their stories. So they make 2 to 3 minute short films that are made within that day, within the training program. And then the last module, which will happen next week, in 2 weeks, it's virtual reality and augmented reality. And I'm really sorry that Deepa is not here, because I was really impressed by her presentation. So we tried integrating storytelling within AR last year. We created an app called Archipelago, which was implemented in Sarajevo, Mostar, Belgrade, and Prizren, in 4 different cities, where we were trying to bring, stories, post-war stories, in our cities, but where you kind of direct your camera into a location where the story happened. But because of this delicate relationship that we have with our own municipality, we could not create these small QR codes, like having small signs with QR codes saying that this place has a story to tell and point your camera here. And then these video stories that we collected through the archives pop up. So AR is going to be a bit more and more present. And next year we are also thinking of integrating AI and storytelling, but not content creation, but rather using AI to help you into creating content, because content creation with AI, it's nothing creative in it. It's another generic content that's being created. So yeah, we've been integrating it. We are playing it with it ourselves as well. We are learning every day, and the best thing is that we are learning from our students, because they come and they tell us, things that we don't know.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think that's a wrap for our panel. So I wish you all great success in the communities that you're working and advancing. You're doing a really great job. And I want to ask our audience to give a round of applause to our panelists, Errol Filibani, Kiran Sethi, and Login Koczynski. Thank you.